So yeah, we're going to have a review video. If my camera can focus on me, which would be amazing. I mean, I'm not the protagonist of this or anything, so I guess. Hello beautiful bookworms! My name is Katarina and welcome to my channel, and today, as I previously stated, I'm going to be doing a book review for a book that I just found out, and it was heavily recommended to me by a friend as per usual, and we all know that that friend is Miguel. I've talked about him previously on this channel, and he recommended me a book from his collection that he lent to me for me to read, and I decided that he deserved a review since I haven't heard anyone talk about this book and I actually really enjoyed it. As per usual, I'm going to leave Miguel's channel down below, but I'm also going to leave our author's channel down below, the Instagram channel, because I believe that she should be known, and I do believe that she has other works that might interest you, and so for that reason alone, if you want to know more about the author of this book, check it down below. But the book that I'm going to review is called Hello Dove, and this is by Gillian Dowell, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, which I really hope I am. And first of all, I would like to grab your attention to the cover at hand, which is absolutely gorgeous. So for those of you that might not understand it very well, we are seeing the back of this woman that is putting her hair up, and we have a sort of, we don't know if it's a shirt or if it's on our naked back, but we have sort of a skull starting to appear on our naked back, and it's just beautiful. And in the back of this, it says, "There's no end to the age of innocence until the first rebellious step is taken." And that pretty much sums up the book. Thank you very much. I will see you tomorrow in a new review. No, I'm kidding. So first of all, I would like to tell you that I have no idea in what genre I should put this book into. It could be a romance, but it's not exactly a romance. It could be a dark romance, but it's not exactly what you're expecting of a dark romance per se. And so for that reason alone, it also has some contemporary points, but it's not exactly contemporary. So I will just call it a stream of conscience novel, which is what it feels to me, and it has a lot to do with the writing of Gillian Dowell, and it's a genre all by itself, because when you write stream of conscience, you're not writing other things, and so that is how I'm going to categorize it. If you have a problem with that, or if you've read the book and you found a better genre to categorize it, I would really love you to tell me down below. So Hello Dove is the story of this young woman. She is not a young adult, she is actually new adult age. I do believe she's 20 something at the beginning of this book, in the story that is majorly in that age. And she's called Genevieve Rowland, and she has just came back to her hometown after being away for college. And so she has a degree, she's already formed, and she has just come home. And she came home to the everyday life that she always lived. And that didn't seem to actually bother her a lot until it does, because she is the daughter of the priest in that land, the preacher, let's just say the preacher's daughter, and her whole family has this sort of kind of vibe in the beginning of the book that you immediately feel that they are too perfect, that something is wrong here, that she appears to be the black sheep of the family, that for some reason everything is wrong with her, even when she tries so hard to be perfect. There's a lot of trigger warnings related to family manipulation and also to the sensation that you want to be perfect and try to be perfect for your family, and you can't. So if that's something that bothers you, I would tell you not to pick up the book. However, I don't feel like this book is excessively graphic or excessively descriptive. It just nags you a little bit. If you've ever felt that sensation whatsoever, you will feel it again, but I don't think that someone can't read this book for being overly graphic or for being overly descriptive, since it's just a stream of conscience, a stream of feelings, a stream of beautiful words that Gillian Dowell has that will impact you but will not leave you scarred, which I think it's incredibly important to also say for people that want to pick this up. So in her life, she's kind of being pushed into a relationship that she doesn't want, into a job that she doesn't want, and into being a person that she's not exactly sure she wants to be. However, she never tries and forces out of this situation since she thinks that the problem is with herself. However, one day she finds herself in a situation that she never thought she was going to be in, and that situation sparks the beginning of questions. Questions that just are unstoppable, feelings that are unstoppable, and maybe the realization that she isn't to blame and she isn't the one that is not perfect. This is a book about a journey. It's a stream of conscience, as I've said many, many times, and you're sick of me saying it, but this is important since it's not a normal narrative in a sense. I mean, it has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end, and you understand where the story goes and it flows correctly. The pace of the story is slow but great because it is an actual journey. It doesn't matter the ending, although I enjoy the ending, but it's not what exactly matters. It is the journey that Genevieve does from the beginning and from what she considers herself to be until the discovery of who she actually is. And I think that the author here is trying to warn you about the loss of innocence that you feel when you grow up, what it means to actually break cycles of violence, being it physical or psychological violence, but what it means to actually break these cycles and what it feels like to do it. Also, what it feels like to embrace what you really are instead of the person that you are meant to believe that you are, and how hard in the end it actually is to change, but how rewarding can be when you see in yourself the person that you want to be, and how change doesn't happen in a moment, how it takes time, and how sometimes you go back and forward on what you feel like, but how this process is transformative. And I think that the writing of this author really expresses the power of transformation. This is a beautiful writing style that I really love, that I think it does fit well with the slow pacing of the book, which is slow but always seems to grab you and keep you reading, and so you always want to know what happens to the next page and how it's going to happen, and so you never really want to stop reading the book, even though it's not an action-packed filled book. It's a book about thoughts, even though situations do happen and those situations plummet forward the rest of the narrative, but none of the situation looks forced. And that's something that I really enjoyed, because the premise of this, and for a character to reach a transformative moment, it could have something that would push her forward in that situation that was really bizarre and that you could feel like it was just used for the narrative, but in this case it was really not. It was a great plot point, it had cool plot twists, it has some cliches, but I mean, in the genre that you might try to insert it with, cliches are normal and it happens, and those are actually tropes because they are well done, and I think that the book itself would not really be the same thing if they weren't used, but they weren't used as a plot device. They were used as a supposed thing that would happen after this plot, and it would be normal, and you would know that was going to happen because that was going to happen. It was the normal procedure of the narrative. The voice of Genevieve can be a little bit harrowing in the beginning, especially if you relate to her at some point. The voice of her family can be distressing for some people. However, I think that they are very accurately representative of the struggle for perfection and how peer pressure and familial pressure are on top of you in your development. And as a psychologist, I really enjoyed seeing how peer pressure and familiar pressure and different relationships had heavy accounting on Genevieve's transformation and on Genevieve's relationships with herself and others, since that is part of growing up, and every single person in our lives is going to influence us, even though psychology has a lot to do with genetics and biology and mental situations. It has a lot to do with who we communicate with and how our societal part of being a human, and because of that I really thought that it was really intriguing that Gillian Dowell just leaned over all of the social relationships that can be formed and how sometimes we can find security outside of what would be normal for other people. I related with some parts of these books, some I did not, but in overall, I really enjoy the story, and I think that if you'd like to read something calmer but that provokes extreme emotions in you from time to time, but it's not gory or it's not overly gruesome or it's not extremely descriptive in a way that makes you more than just a little bit uncomfortable and propels you to reflect. If you want to reflect a bit but not be physically incapable of dealing with your reflections, then I think that Hello Dove would be beautiful. Also, I love the part where we first see the title used, and the ending for me, even though it was brutal in a way that I was not expecting, it was actually perfect. I think it was perfect. I did, however, wanted something different, and for that I am very angry, but I understand what it means for growing up and how we can't always be safe with everyone, and even though we find ourselves in a niche and in a security net, sometimes that breaks and we have to just move forward. And I'm trying really hard not to spoil this book because I do think that you should go into it blind and read it as I did, without knowing anything about it except for this, because it's a really good book and I hope that you can appreciate the words and the beautiful prose put into it, and that you can just read it and have as an amazing time as I did. So that's going to be all for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoy it. I hope that you actually go and buy the book. I do believe it's available on Amazon, and I don't know if it's available anywhere else, but I will leave the author's details down below if you want to contact her. But that's going to be all for today. If you've known this book or are excited to maybe try and read the book, tell me something in the comments down below. That's going to be all for today, and happy readings to you all. Bye!